Okay. Good morning, everyone. You are welcome to this session of training. I'll be discussing within ourselves. I'll be talking about team leadership. So, what do we understand by team leadership? I'll just like us to talk about just a few of what you need to know about team leadership, though I may not be able to deep dive into the deepest part of it, but I would just like us to take this as like a section A of many sections that is going to happen on that team leadership. Team leadership is a very wide topic to discuss. So I need to use I will need to start from the just the basics. And I want us all to learn one thing or the other. In every aspect of our life, we are holding a position called leadership at one point or the other. Whether you are a member of a team, whether so far you are a member of a gathering, you actually need this leadership trait and some things you need to know about leadership. Even those that are within a team that still have a team lead, you still need to understand some things about team leadership. So it is actually important for every one of us to get ourselves familiar with what team leadership is all about, so that you know how your team lead, why is your team lead doing this, how does team lead do this, and things like that. So when I become a team lead, what is expected of me, or as a team lead, what is expected of me? So this is what we are trying to discuss this morning. So let's prepare our mind towards that. So team leadership. Who is a team lead? So a team lead is someone that inspires, motivates, give guidance, support, provide suggestions and directions to help their team members with certain goals at work. Now, looking at this, it's kind of key. This is kind of cumbersome. Inspires. The same person motivate, the same person give guidance, the same person give support, the same person have to provide suggestion and even direction to help the team achieve a particular goal. It may be at work, it may be at home. Some of us are even actually a leader at home. A leader in the sense that, okay, I am the firstborn, I am a father, I am a mother, I'm first daughter, I have younger ones, or I'm the only child. I still have younger ones in the extended family and things like that. So you are still a leader. You are a team lead, and you always, what is expected of a team lead is for you to make sure, do everything to make sure that your team reach the goals that is being planned or we are all looking at. So inspiration, motivation, guidance, and support. Inspiration is not just talk. We know what inspiration. I believe we all know what inspiration means. And if we say we should go deep into inspiration, it's going to also lead us to some other things, but we need to be focused this morning. So inspiration will motivate, give guidance and support. Now, so many of us are team leads here. We are microservice owner here. We are team leads even in our family, not just at our place of work. Now look at what you have been doing. What are the goals that you're trying to achieve within your team, within your family, amongst a short group of people, maybe in your place of worship and things like that? Do you actually inspire them? Do you motivate them? Do you give guidance? Do you give support? Do you actually provide suggestion and give direction to them to meet a particular goal? So these are the things we should look into. Do I possess all those qualities that define a team lead? If you know you don't possess it, you need to pick it up, because this is very important. In all social organization, in all office space, you are going to be needing all these qualities to become to at least to have access to a leadership role. So importance of a team lead. We have seen team leads around. Some of us have been asked to head some departments, or some of us have been asked to head some team and things like that. What is the importance of that team lead, of that head? They provide focus and drive the team forward. That is one of their major roles. Their roles, their focus is to drive the team forward, not to be on a state or not to move backward. They take responsibility for decision making. So when you see your team lead or head of your department saying, okay, we have to do it like this, and let's do it this way, and things like that, he or she is trying to take responsibility of making decisions within the organization. If it goes bazaar, if it goes fine, or it goes the other way around, they're always there to take responsibility of whatever the result is. They empower the team members to work at their full potential. That is the work of the team lead. If you notice your team lead or the head of your department, or even you as the head of a family, at some point, you don't empower your team member to work at a full potential. You need to study, because these are one of the important. This is one of the things we look forward to see. This is one of the things we look forward. So far, you have a team lead. This is what we look forward to get from that team lead, whether at home, whether at work space, or anywhere. So understand team members' strength and weakness. This is actually very, very important, because team leads, someone outside the team might not have access to know each team member's strengths and weaknesses. So as a team lead or as the head of a department, you're expected to know the strengths and weaknesses of each team member, so that the team lead will have a way of communicating with one another. Please, we need to mute the person. So thank you, Austin. So we expect that team leads know the strengths and weaknesses of the team members, so that anytime he or she needs to address some things, we all have different character and personality. Like personality is different from a twin personality are different. They were born the same day, they have the same zodiac sign, and that doesn't mean that they are actually the same. So the way you approach the first twin is different. It might be totally different from the way you approach the other twin, for them to understand the same context you're trying to pass across to them. So understanding team strengths and weaknesses is very, very important. And that is why we have team leads, because they have the ability to be able to do this. That's why we put them at that position. So teach is their importance is to teach and share information with others. So most of the time, the team lead needs to have broader understanding of what the team is standing for, so that the team lead will be able to share more information and explain better, give and teach and share more information about the goal of the team. Host, please, can you mute? I think Miriam from one get some fun. All right, so going to the qualities of a good team member. Well, we have, I'm sorry, team lead. So we have like qualities of a good, not just team lead, the standard. So we could have a good team lead, we have a bad team lead. And I believe that nobody would actually want to place him or herself on a bad team lead level. Now, also for those that you see yourself as a team member, everybody is actually a team lead one way or the other. So because you are not the one leading your primary team on this in this organization, doesn't mean that you are not a team lead somewhere else. There are some places that you are being seen as the lead of that group. So I need us all to key ourselves into what I'm saying. Try to understand how you're supposed to, what is expected of you. And also if you have a team lead, okay, try to understand, why is my team lead always doing this? So number one quality I look at here, the major one, the most important one, is good communication. So in a group, sorry, just 1 minute. Okay. Sorry about that. So in a group setting, where every member has their own unique traits and personalities, communication is vital. Because of this, being an effective communicator is considered one of the top qualities of team leaders. Clear communication, active listening to team members foster an environment conducive to improve productivity and effective teamwork, and enable team leaders to swiftly resolve conflict in the group, preserving a positive and harmonious group dynamic. Communication is very, very vital. It is very, very important. As a team lead, you should be able to communicate in in a concise manner and be short and accurate. Just be brief when you're giving your when you're when you're communicating, and make sure it's accurate. You're able to pass the message across. And let's know that communication is in two ways. You give a recipient and you expect a feedback. When you don't get a feedback, you have not communicated. Communication is not a one-way thing. So it has to be like you give and you need to receive. When you give, when you say something, when you try to pass an information, you need to pass a message to your team member, and you don't get a feedback from that person just to know if the person understands what you have said or not, then it is not communication. So, and also, like I said earlier, everybody have their own unique traits and personality. Everybody is unique in their own way. Some people, even before you say A, B, understand already where you're going. Some people, you have to say A, B, C, D before they understand. Okay, some people, you have to say A, B, C, D till T before they understand what you're trying to say. So, everybody have a unique, very unique and special traits and personalities. So not because you communicated with A like this, automatically B should understand, automatically C should understand. Make sure that all your team members are being carried along because they have actually different traits, personalities, even different region, different ethnic, and things like that. So number two is how we're talking about is integrity and humility. A good team lead is expected to have integrity and be humble at every time, because when you are humble, your team member will actually be able to, they will be free with you, there will be more transparency, you'll be able to work together. They are also, team leaders are usually also humble in their approach towards leadership. This allows them to build a more meaningful relationship with team members, which affects how well the team functions. If you're not able to communicate well with your team member, if they don't see you as an humble person and with integrity, they might not be able to flow well with you. And if your team members are not flowing well with you, you can't achieve the goal, the purpose of the team. So what is the essence of having a team in the first place? So please, as a team lead, you should invite the integrity and humility score. So then number three is accountability. A team lead has to be very, very accountable for things that happen within the team, whether positive or negative. Team leads also know how to hold themselves and their team members accountable for their actions without being condescending to or blaming others. You don't have to blame others. Let's be accountable for any result that comes from our team members. That is one of the good quality of a team lead. So decisiveness and commitment. Team leads are usually committed to their team, especially task or project that is being assigned to such office. So decisiveness, be able to decide on, make decision on behalf or probably together with the team, and also be committed to whatever you are all doing. Openness to learn. A team lead is expected to be open to learning. There is no one that is an island of him or herself. There is no one that knows it all. A team lead is not expected to see him or herself as I know everything. I know how to do it and things like that. The team lead should be ready to learn from even the team members. Yes, as sweet as team lead is, team lead faces a lot of challenges, and I know that these challenges are not actually new to. I can't say it's not new to all of us, whether within this organization, whether in the workspace, at home, in your place of worship, in your surroundings, in your environment, and things like that. These are not new to you because you definitely meet with difficult people. When you meet with difficult people, your goal as a leader is to handle them with grace and kindness. Please, grace and kindness, but make sure that they don't get you down. That's just it. But you need to make sure you handle difficult people with grace and kindness. Don't use it on any difficult person. So far, you're a team lead. You need that patience to handle difficult people with grace and kindness. Now we have pressures. You will definitely get pressured as a team lead. The work environment has a lot of pressure on its own. Outside the work environment has a pressure on its own. How do you manage this pressure? How do you manage this pressure? As a team lead, you need to learn. You need to you need to train yourself to be able to handle pressure at any point in time. Number three, at some point in time, you will have to let some people go because of some things. As a team lead, you have gone through some things. You have tried you have tried all your best. You have tried all the tactics. You have done all you have to do, but eventually you realize that this person will actually not allow you reach the goal that is meant for the team, or the person is drawing you back. You can let that person go, but please, when you are trying to let someone go out of your team, you shouldn't do it in a rash manner or under anger. It doesn't paint you as a very good team lead. So one of the challenges we face is we have to let this person go. We don't have to do it with sentiment also, okay, because I don't just like this person. It is not about personal. We should try to take personal issues out of we should not try to take it out on anybody within the organization or within your team. You don't have to take it out on anybody. So if you know you're having any personal issues with that person, you need to find a way to control it, because that is one of the challenges you'll be um, going through as a team lead. Delivering bad news. Bad news happen everywhere. Bad news happen everywhere, anytime. So how do you deliver it? As a team lead, it can be tasky. It can be tasky. You know, when probably a younger person die in a family, you see younger ones trying to look for adults to help them break the news in some places and things like that. Those adults they were actually looking at is a form of, okay, team lead, you're a leader, we are a leader in this community, please, we want you to come and break this news to these people so that, because we know that you'll be able to handle it. And that is the same thing what team lead does. It's actually very tasky. It requires us using our IQ before we can be able to drop those messages. So staying motivated is not easy. As a team leader, I know at some point in time we get exhausted. We get exhausted. But how you take yourself up, how you pick yourself up, nobody is so strong 100%. Nobody doesn't face some at some point you just feel flat. You don't get motivated about the task or project being assigned to you. You just feel like there are so many things that will discourage you. But as a team lead, you need to snap out of that, at some point in time. You can even, your team members also can help you fix yourself. Let your team member understand and let them fix you. It's also part of it. Um, Another challenge that the team lead faces being respected and being liked. This is actually common. Now, not all, don't expect, this is general as a human. Everybody cannot like you and everybody can respect you. If you have that at the back of your mind, then you just do your thing as a team lead as it is. Now, respect is being earned. It's not being commanded. You don't command people to respect you or like you. You can't command, you can't force anybody to respect or like you. But most of the time, team lead gets respected and being liked by we earn it. Team leads earn it. So if you're lucky, you might have all your team members like you and respect you for who you are, especially when you have the good trait of a team lead. So we need to earn it. We don't command it. So if you notice that in your society, in your team, at home, at your workspace, you are not respected or liked, you need to work on your team lead qualities. Probably there are some things you need to adjust for this to be heard. Okay. The next one is maintaining focus. You need to be focused. So many things will distract you as a team lead. You need to be focused. That's another challenge. It's actually a common challenge also. So many things will keep dragging your attention, but you need to be focused on the target, on your aim, on um, project or task you're handling. Communication problem. Wow. Like we said, we have different personality traits. There are some things that you say to A that will be misunderstood by B. So that is another very huge problem that happens. So we need to learn. We need to learn to. We need to practice your skill as being clear and brief with benefits, which will benefit the entire organization. Inevitably, someone is going to reply all to an email that they shouldn't have. A team member isn't going to get the deadline straight, or someone just isn't going to get the memo altogether. So this is another problem. Handling needed and cultural issues. All these are problems that team lead are facing. Are you following this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
thank you very much. All right, so we have a boss and a leader. Actually, some of us usually mix things up. That's okay. Okay, that person is my boss actually. It's actually different. Boss and a leader are different. But I am talking to us, I'm sharing us this, giving us this lecture training this morning this morning that please be a leader and not a boss. Now look at the picture here. We can see the picture of a leader and we can see the boss. The boss is screaming at the top of his voice. Wow, it's not actually good for the leaders, for the boss's health. Because screaming will actually high your BP and things like that. So I want us to be a leader that's calm and collected, cool, calm and collected. So a boss actually knows it all. They show that, oh, I know it all. Yeah, this is done like this. No, this has to be done like this and things like that. That's a boss trait. But as a leader, always willing to learn, hear from your team members. Actually, you might have an idea of what to do, but ask your team members. Let them talk, allow them give their own contribution. Then a boss talks more than to listen, where a leader listens more than to talk. That is very, very important. A boss gives answer and a leader seek solution. You know, someone that tries to show that he knows all, you always want to be giving answer to everything, rather than let's discuss it, let's seek solution amongst ourselves, let's rub minds together. So a boss actually criticizes at every point in time, where a leader encourages. You didn't do this well. Maybe someone have to do 5 things and the person do 2 things wrong. The only thing the boss concentrates on is on the 2 things that the person did not do well. You did yeah, don't this, you did do well, you did blah blah blah. Even if it's 3 things that the person did not do well. But the leader is not supposed to always criticize the team members. There will always be some good things the team members do. You need to also always encourage. Encouragement will actually help your teammates' confidence and self-confidence, even trust in the leader, and also help earn some kind of respect from them. Bosses defend their ego, like, you can't talk to me that way and things like that. But the leader reveals vulnerability. Bosses focuses on themselves, just me and me alone. See the way you talk to me. You have done this to me. It's about me. Okay, do this so that I won't be put to shame. It's about me, I, and myself. I, me, and myself. It's for boss, where leader is always focused on the team. Boss only demands result. but leaders always inspire performance. Inspiration is for the leaders. You inspire you inspire your team performance. And if you don't inspire them, if you don't act as a leader, you will notice that you keep floating, you not meet up to time. If there's some task or project that you're supposed to do that is time bound, you will not meet up with your aim, you will not meet up with your target if you are not inspiring your team at any point in time. Profit oriented, boss is always profit oriented. It's just about my profit, my profit, my profit. And the leader is always people oriented. How do I manage these people? Not how do I manage my profit? How do I manage these people? That's for leaders. Gain respect due to seniority. I am not your mate. I have 2 years and I have 10 years experience. I am 10 years older than you. That is not how we gain respect at all. That's a shallow way of thinking. We gain respect. A leader gain respect due to the ability and quality of his character. So we need to work on our ability and character so that we can earn the respect, not calling for it. Leaders put blames on others. Why did you do this? Why did you break that plate? Why did you go to that house? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? They always put blames on others. And a leader will always take responsibility for anything that happens around. Bosses point out weakness. Leaders recognize it. Bosses defend critics. Leader accepts critics. Now, defending critics and accept critics. So many people, we are not perfect. Nobody, no human is perfect. So at some point, your team members will be like, why did you do this? You have done this, you said this, and it's actually, it did this to me. As a leader, we don't have the same temperament. We don't have the same personality. What you think, you just said, you don't expect it to hurt the person. Probably could hurt the person. The person doesn't have your own trait. Take it upon yourself and accept what the person has told you to adjust, and also adjust when it comes to you reaching out to the person or having any conversation with that person in the nearest future. Conversation could be a face-to-face, it could be through emails and things like that. So please, let's be a leader and not a boss. So I brought up this, a boss actually will stay somewhere and control. Okay, push that thing, keep pushing, and the boss will not be involved. That's the work of a boss. But as a leader, you see the leader in the front of whatever mission they are about to join, whatever task or project they are being assigned to. A leader will always be at the front. A leader will always show the way, not go and do that. A leader needs to show you how to do it. A leader needs to show a team member how to do this. A child that is just crawling, you need to you need to teach that child in the way that he will understand. You need to be like that child and make that child understand this is how to do it. Not that you sit and be like, oh yeah, start crawling. What does the child know as crawling? So we need to be, as a leader, we need to be at the forefront of whatever mission our team is going through. So leadership is about making others better. Like we said the other time, they are people oriented. Leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. Now, some people actually, people will think, okay, when they are there, and the team will be quiet and they will start responding to whatever the leader is saying at that time. But the moment the leader is out of there, they start doing their own thing. That is not leadership. So if your team has been like that, whether at home, at your place of work, at your place of worship, in your area, and in your residential area or whatever, if it's been like this, you are not having the trait of a leadership. Make sure, let this be your target. Leadership is all about making others better, whether in your presence or at your absence. Now, be the kind of leader that you would want to follow. There are so many leaders we have out there. If you like, you might say, okay, I want to lead like so person. Do you think you can, if someone else have the trait you have in presently, do you think you would like to follow that leadership step? Now look at it, look at yourself if that is possible. So my final thought for us, leadership isn't just about the hard stuff, but it is a big part of shouldering the responsibility. Your growth in leadership is dependent on the lesson you learn on dealing with the good and the bad. So you need to keep learning lesson every day, whether the ones you have, whether the good part or the bad part. Leadership is you need to grow in leadership. Your growth in leadership actually depends on the lesson that you have learned dealing with good and the bad. And please, as a team lead of any gathering, do always take good care of yourself, because as a leader, you concentrate on people. Yeah, people who enter, you just want them to be fine. Don't forget yourself. Also, make sure you always take good care of yourself. Thank you for listening. Questions? Questions?
Thank you so much, Ma. I am grateful. Thank you, Ma.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, too.
All right, Ma, I have a question.
All right.
All right. So, well, it's centered around around leadership. Now, it's two in one question. All right. The first one is, let's say, in a case scenario where, as a leader, you have those who are kept under your custody, and let's say most of them are rigid to change, rigid to being flexible to adopt change, and to risk not being offensive or to risk not being defensive in the long run, which of course will affect the overall performance of the team. What practical steps of actions can be taken to ensure that two things, either such categories of persons are removed, or such categories of persons receive the right words or the right actions that will make them become better, since they've chosen not to adapt to change. Now that's the first question. Why the second question actually is,
sorry, please, can I answer that first before you go to the second question?
Yes, please.
All right, so from what you have said now, I would categorize that person to be a difficult person, to be part of a difficult set of people. So, but before then, as a team lead, for you to be assigned that role, there must have been some qualities that we have seen in you that, oh, this person is actually capable of handling situations like this. But if at some point you have tried all the tactics, you have done your personal and motivation, inspiration, and others, you have even shown empathy at some point in time, you have tried everything. The best thing for you is to let them go. That is another difficulty. I know most of us to be like, oh, not, I don't want to be categorized as a bad person, that I have to let this person lose his or her job or position and blah, blah, blah. For your own team, not just for you alone, for the team's sake, you need to let the person go, but not out of anger or maybe some personal issues you have with that person, but it's going to be understandable, because the person is going to know that, okay, I've been trained on this, they've been talking to me about this. As a leader, also, you are motivated, you have inspired, you have even you've set a foundation for that thing so that the person can continue, but the person still choose not to. Then you need to let the person go out of your team. The person can be better in another team, but for your team, you need to let the person go and probably report to whoever is in charge. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Ma. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Fort, please, can I say something concerning?
Okay.
Okay. Is it concerning the question you asked?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, sometimes this thing happens almost every day, everywhere. It's not just about organization or family or so, everywhere. And what's the only thing I see causing this kind of issue is, number one, people are not tolerant. Number two, people just want to rule, not about lead. They don't try to understand other people's emotional emotional well-being, emotional balance before a lot of people don't listen. That is why we have this kind of challenges. Nobody is difficult. Some people are just not patient to tolerate other people. Some people are not paying much attention to person's emotional, but how balanced is the emotion, how their background, their way of the way they listen, the way they interpret information. I think that's the major thing that caused these things. But if you listen carefully, we see that a lot of people are not difficult, but in a way where even in the Bible, it said, can two people work together unless they agree? They can't.
Okay.
But in a situation where the leader try to understand carefully and assess the person is trying to change or something. But sometimes the best way to change people is to change ourselves.
All right.
So
yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for that contribution. And it also boils down to some things that we have discussed earlier. And also, thank you for that. Like I said, the team leads must have tried all the things that is expected to do for that person. Now, being difficult doesn't mean that we are painting anybody black. Now, being difficult in a team doesn't mean that the person can actually cope in that team. Now, for you to let that person go out of your team, you could be helping that person discover him or herself.
Yeah.
So that is why I suggest, that's why I'm saying that at some point after the team lead must have tried everything we have mentioned earlier, tried everything and it did not work, then you need to let the person go. Now, calling them difficult people doesn't mean that we are painting them black, that they are actually, they don't want to do anything, but difficult on that team, because it's difficult, actually the team might not be their line. That's just it.
Okay. I was going to ask the second question, but maybe because of time. But Mal, you like the second question? Maybe you give us answer later on. Okay. Let me just say it. All right, just in case we're done already. Right. So, Mal, what about in a case scenario where a person, because you mentioned about leadership, and one of the book written by John C. Maxwell, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the law of lead. Now, in a case scenario where a person is given the responsibility to lead leaders, all right, and in such a setting, the let me use the word, the leadership edge of that leader doesn't necessarily match up to others. How can such person balance up? Like, for instance, you're placed in a position to lead experts. Like everybody on your team are all experts. They're all leaders in their own way, and possibly you don't even have all the experience, all the exposure, or things like that. Can be tough in such case scenario, right? How can such person really, lead the leaders that kept number?
All right, for those expertise, they are a leader in their own jurisdiction. So the person that is leading this leader also is a leader in his own jurisdiction, and we expect him to be an expert in his own jurisdiction. So they are all leaders and they are in their level, and they are expected to have these good qualities of a leader in their team.
Yes. So that makes it be much more easier. Okay, that's nice. All right, Ma. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you. Yeah.
Can I add something to that, Ma?
All right. Thank you.
I also think that it would be good if the person leading, the experts, now gets to know one or two things, or let me put it that one or two things from the other people's profession or field. Because I understand what you're saying by saying that have experts and then you literally don't have any knowledge of what they're doing. So because the truth is your effectiveness is determined. I mean, the law that is talking about, it depends how much the capacities you have now determines the effectiveness, how you're going to actually lead the people, right? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, man. So I kind of feel like it'd be good if he can or she can actually understand one or two things else. the communication line there might not be all right. The communication might not be as smooth as it's supposed to be.
Okay, and thank you very much. And that boils down to whatever your team usually have a motive, they have a target. As a team lead, you should be able to know the target and also be able to lead, inspire them. For you to be able to lead, you must know everything about that team as a team lead. I think I buttressed what you're saying, Olaoluwa.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much for that contribution. I really appreciate this, it's very interactive. For those that have questions up to now, please you can drop your questions on KD channel. I will attend to it. Our time is fast spent. Thank you very much, everybody, for this contribution. It is very, very impressive. Thank you. Over to you, host. Is the host here, Patrick?
Okay.